Hello there, welcome to my 7th album review. Today I'm going to review Foxtrot by Genesis. It's a bit bright, there you go. 6 songs on it. It was released in 1972 and was the second album to feature the classic lineup of Peter Gabriel, Phil Collins, Steve Hackett, Tony Banks and Mike Rutherford. And I would, along with a lot of Genesis fans, I would consider this the band's first masterpiece. I'd say they've done 3. I'd say the band has 3 masterpieces, all released in a row, and I'd say this is the first of the 3. The band's 4th studio album overall, their 3rd prog album, and this was definitely the best one that they'd made at that point. Released in 1972, as I said, which was a fantastic year. 1971, 72, and 73 were the golden years of prog, those 3 years, I'd say. And that's where a lot of bands released their best songs or their best albums. 1972 had so many great albums. Quite a few bands released their masterpieces that year. I wouldn't say this is the absolute best Genesis album. It features my favourite Genesis song, which we'll get to. And one thing I will say is this review might be a bit shorter than my previous ones, which is probably a good thing. I think I do make them a bit long, which is totally unintentional. I sort of waffle. But in contrast to the first side will be, when I talk about the first side, I think it will be shorter than the second side. I have a lot more to say about the second side. I don't have too much to say about side 1. But other than that, I'll just get right in it. The song starts with Watcher of the Skies, which was, and still is, a fan favourite amongst Genesis fans. Notable for featuring the Mellotron. One of the few times I think that Genesis ever utilised the Mellotron. And a fun fact is that I'm pretty sure that it's the exact same Mellotron that was used in The Court of the Crimson King by King Crimson. The exact same Mellotron, not like the same model, the exact same thing. And apparently only 2 notes were working, or 2 or 3, and because they broke it, King Crimson broke it apparently. So they said this was 1972. Remember, King Crimson probably just split up right before that. I think King Crimson, Genesis were probably writing and recording this in 1971. This was probably right after Fripp. Fripp, I guess Robert Fripp didn't make the decision that time. He disbanded the group the second time in 74, but I think the first time it was due to other band members leaving, which was a good thing, because if the other band members hadn't left, he wouldn't have, I don't want to say got the group back together. King Crimson aren't a band that can, as Robert Fripp says, they're not a band that can get back together. A new incarnation of King Crimson in 1973 with Bill Buford and Jamie Muir and John Wetton and David Cross, that wouldn't have happened. So yeah, so I think I think Genesis needed a Mellotron, and Robert Fripp or somebody said, oh, you can use this one, we're not using it, but only a few of the notes are working, and Tony Banks and the guys managed to write a decent song with it on just a few notes. It's the Mellotron that really carries that song in terms of its mood. Though you don't hear Mellotron throughout the whole thing, but it definitely sets the song up. Not one of my absolute favourite Genesis songs, Watcher of the Skies. I know a lot of people really love it. It's a lot of people's absolute favourite Genesis song. I do like the Mellotron at the beginning. I like the keyboard throughout it. It's got good drumming as well. Phil Collins is good on the drums in that song. But I'd say it's one of the, not my favourite, certainly not my favourite Genesis album opener. I think the Musical Box is a much stronger opener from Nursery Crime. But another difference between Nursery Crime and Foxtrot is that I'd say the Musical Box is definitely the best song on that album. While Foxtrot, there's still more to come. You haven't got the best one out of the way yet. The second song's Timetable, which starts off with a nice sort of wee piano bit going on. It's quite a slow one. It's a slow song, but it has really nice singing by Peter Gabriel. and there's some really emotional parts in it. Like I said, I don't have too much to say about the first side. The second side, and again, I'm sure most Genesis fans agree, the second side takes up a lot of your attention when listening to Foxtrot. Get 'Em Out by Friday, track 3, I'd say is the highlight of the first side. Probably my favourite part is Mike Rutherford's bass. Well, he probably uses a plectrum, but can't help but air bass to it when he goes when he does all that bass line. That's a great bass line. Great lyrics as well. It's a good song. Get 'Em Out by Friday. There's some Peter Gabriel utilises his strange voices a few times throughout the song. Very theatrical. But I'd say the standout thing for me was always Mike Rutherford's bass line. And I'd say Mike Rutherford's a better bassist than he is a guitar player. Steve Hackett's a much better guitar player than Mike Rutherford. But I'd say that's the highlight of the song, his bass line. I love a good bass line. Definitely, probably inspired a lot of Rush songs with that bass line, and there's quite a few great bass lines that Mike Rutherford has done throughout the albums. Last song on the album's Can Utility and the Coast. Last song on the first side, sorry, Can Utility and the Coastliners, which has really good acoustic guitar. It has acoustic guitar, and I'm pretty sure it's got the Mellotron back. No, it doesn't. It doesn't actually. It sounds a wee bit like it has the Mellotron, or maybe it does. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe you can. I'm not a Genesis expert. I'd say I know more about bands like King Crimson and Van der Graaf Generator and Rush. I'm not up to speed on all my Genesis knowledge, mainly because I don't listen to anything after 1976. Wind and Wuthering is the cut-off point for me. I'm not interested in anything after that. But I do adore the prog Genesis, those 6 albums. 5, no, 7 albums. Yeah, 7. I don't know why I said 5. Peter Gabriel did 5 prog albums with them, and then 2 more. That's probably why I said 5. 7 prog albums. I'm not interested in anything before 1970 either. So 1970 to 1976. That's all I'm interested in when it comes to Genesis. Can You Tell It in the Coastline? It's got a great acoustic. It's got a heavy acoustic riff, if that makes sense. When it goes like that, that's really, really good. I like that. That's all I really have to say about the first side. I'd say it's a strong first side. I'd say it's stronger than any of the sides on Nursery Crime. Though I'd say the Musical Box is better than any song on the first side of Foxtrot. Jumped the gun a bit there. Got a little bit too excited. Anyway, second side starts with Horizons. Only 2 songs on the second side. Well, Horizons is a 1.5 minute long instrumental. I think it's just Steve Hackett on the acoustic guitar. Nice piece of music. It fits, it fits in there. Certainly, I won't ever find a 1.5 minute long acoustic piece that I think's like the greatest song ever or anything. It just works. It's not amazing or anything. It's good. It works. But then that leads to the song which takes up about half the album. Supper's Ready. 23-minute. I would say side-long epic, but they've got that 1.5 minute long Horizons in there. But it is a side-long epic. Supper's Ready is 23 minutes long, and it's absolutely amazing. It's one of the greatest progressive rock songs of all time, if perhaps even the greatest. I don't know if I could name a single favourite prog rock song. Close to the Edge by Yes is up there, but Supper's Ready is definitely my absolute favourite Genesis song, and one of my absolute favourite prog rock songs of all time. It starts off. There's no unlike other progressive rock side-long epics, you usually get a slow intro. Like Close to the Edge has a 45-second build-up of birds chirping and sort of ambient noise going on, and then it kicks in. Same with the Gates of Delirium, that has a bit of a build. Tarkus has that sort of build by ELP. 2112 has an overture. 2112 by Rush has an overture. A lot of the modern prog bands have overtures and things that reprises, things like that, because they tend to make their songs like 30 plus minutes nowadays. They have a lot of reprises. But Supper's Ready starts immediately. The singing and everything starts right from the very first second, walking across. And I really like the opening. It's got really good acoustic guitar. It's sort of difficult to describe Supper's Ready. Well, it's the same with a lot of progressive rock. It's difficult to put into words. A lot of it. A lot of the time, it's just all you can do is listen to it, and you can say it's good or whatever, and that's all you can really do. We'll get the vinyl out because that has all the parts. Lover's Leap is the first side. I think the first part of the suite. Sorry. I'm probably going to talk about Supper's Ready like it's an album here. I mean, it's bloody long. It's 23 minutes. Lover's Leap is the first part, which has a long instrumental acoustic section as well, with a nice wee keyboard solo going through it. It's very atmospheric. I think that's a good word to describe the opening to Supper's Ready. So it's very atmospheric, quite eerie at times as well. And I think they were maybe perhaps inspired by A Plague of Lighthouse Keepers, Peter Gabriel. Not just because they're around about the same length, but A Plague of Lighthouse Keepers, correct me if I'm wrong, was one of the first, came out in 1971. For me, that would be one of the first progressive rock sidelong epics that told a story. You know, Close to the Edge, it doesn't tell a story. Tarkus, you could say Tarkus tells a story. I'd say the music tells a story of Tarkus, but the lyrics don't really tell a story. They're more just a criticism of certain parts of indoctrination and like religious fundamentalism and greed that lead to war. But A Plague of Lighthouse Keepers was released in 1971, and that's again, correct me if I'm wrong if there's any that came out before it, but I'd say that's the first sidelong epic that really told a story that was more of a short story, more of a short novella, and I'd say Supper's Ready sort of built on that. And one thing, I've got OCD, so that annoys me. You know, this sort of rainbow beam of light colour thing. Why is it not right down the middle? You know, why not? That annoys me. Anyway, after the long instrumental section, it's just ambient acoustic, basically, with a wee keyboard solo, like I said. We get part 2. There's 8 parts, by the way. Part 2 is The Guaranteed Eternal Sanctuary Man, and for me, that's when the song really, really gets going. I love this part. Very, very emotional. I talk about this on a lot of my videos, how that part's really emotional, that part's really emotional, but if a piece of music hits me emotionally, then that's when I'm gonna think it's really, really good. I mean, there's parts of music that I think are good, but don't really hit me emotionally. Like, I talked about The Gates of Delirium. My favourite part of the song, when it's that crescendo of the music, when it goes up the scale, just gets me here, you know. The Guaranteed Eternal Sanctuary Man totally gets me there. Stops and starts though, and you hear little kids singing, and then it goes into some of these are pretty difficult to pronounce. I can't. Ichnathon and Itzakon and their band of merry men, which is more fast paced. It kicks up the pace a little bit. Before that, the song was quite slow. Kicks up the pace, and I really one of the things about the Supper's Ready is the lyrics. I really like the lyrics. There's a lot of, I think Peter Gabriel wrote all of them. I think there's a lot of religious imagery. There's a lot of mythology, just loads and loads of different stuff that he flung in, and it all works. You know, it all works because it's a story. I think it's about 2 characters, a man and a woman, going through all this stuff. But for me, the concept isn't too important. For me, the music's always come first when it comes to Supper's Ready. There are some songs where I think the lyrics are just as important. but the music's always come first when it comes to Supper's Ready, and the way the vocals are sung, things like that. Part 4 is How Dare I Be So Beautiful, which is again, gets a bit slow again, very slow actually. Gives you a bit of a breather before Willow Farm, which again kicks up the pace. I'd say this is the next few minutes or so. This part, Willow Farm, is for me is the weakest part of the song. Part 5, I'd say it doesn't feel out of place or anything. It works. It all works. It's a totally cohesive suite, 23-minute suite. It all totally works. But I just think Willow Farm, though it's totally Genesis have that silliness, that sort of fairy tale childlike nature to their music. It totally works. It's just my personal least favourite part of the song, Willow Farm. It's quite a long part as well. I do like it. If it was up to me, I wouldn't take it out, because it makes the song what it is. And if you were to take it out and you were to go from How Dare I Be So Beautiful to go A Flower right into Apocalypse in 9/8, then it just wouldn't work. It works. It's just my personal least favourite part of the song. Some strange sort of funny lyrics, quite comedic, and there's a lot of emotions in the song. There's funny bits, there's dark bits, there's really light-hearted bits, there's slow bits. It's all over the place. Supper's Ready, but again, it never goes off course. It never ceases to work. Then after that, then he goes, so we'll end with a whistle and end with a bang, and all of us fit in our places. And then you go, and I think you get some keyboard and some synthesizer making some strange noises. Then for me, that's when the song gets from the bit. That's when the best part starts, right to the end. Part 6, Apocalypse. No, 7. There's 7 parts. Sorry, there's 7 parts. I thought it was 8. Apocalypse in 9/8, co-starring the delicious talents of Gabbo Ratchet. The title should sort of give it away. This part is in 9/8, and it's one of the best pieces of 9/8 I've ever heard, because you've got the great beat, you've got the guitar going da 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 da, but then you've got Tony Banks just comes in with this fantastic keyboard solo, one of my absolute favourite prog rock keyboard solos ever. In fact, I might actually make a top 10 prog rock keyboard solos. Might do that soon, but this would definitely be in it. One of the best keyboard solos I've ever heard. It's long, but again, it never waffles. To me, Supper's Ready is is like their Dark Side of the Moon. Everyone was just working to the height of their ability to create this song. I mean, even the Dark Side of the Moon, when I get around to reviewing that, there's certain parts that I think are definitely a lot weaker than other parts. People say it's a 10 out of 10 album, like perfect from start to finish. I'd say it's a 10 out of 10 album, Dark Side of the Moon, but I wouldn't say it's perfect from start to finish. So there's definitely bits that are weaker than others. But Peter Gabriel comes back in with the lyrics. He starts singing very emotionally. 666 is no longer alone. Then you get a reprise of the Guaranteed Eternal Sanctuary Man, but it's not called the Guaranteed Eternal Sanctuary Man. Musically, it's a musical reprise. Sorry, I hope I didn't say musically as in music.ly. That's not what I was going for. Can't You Feel Our Souls Ignite? As Sure as Eggs is Eggs, Aching Men's Feet. Strange names to all the titles. Tony Banks actually. In fact, I'll talk about that in a second. I'll just talk about this last part. It all builds to that. You've got this crescendo of dark and anger. Maybe not anger, but there's darkness in the Apocalypse part. It's kind of supposed to portray the story. And then As Sure as Eggs is really uplifting crescendo of it's just beautiful. It's just absolutely beautiful. Peter Gabriel's absolutely singing his heart out here. Everything it all just builds up to this. It all just leads to this, and it's just so good. Like you just need to listen to it. Though it took me about 2 or 3 listens to really enjoy Supper's Ready. So if you don't like it on the first couple of listens, give it another one or two, to see what happens. But yeah, Tony Banks has criticised Supper's Ready for not having an epic enough title. He thinks Supper's Ready doesn't portray how epic the song is. I can kind of see where he's coming from, but it's a Genesis song, isn't it? It's got the Genesis personality. Genesis would write a song called Supper's Ready, you know. Just like how Rush would write a song called Cygnus X1 Book 2 Hemispheres, or Yes would do a song called Close to the Edge, you know, like The Gates of Delirium. That's a very epic title, very epic. Or Tarkus, just because it's one word, you're not quite sure what it means. Just a couple of examples of sidelong epics. Thick as a Brick, I guess, definitely portrays the Jethro Tull vibe. Just in the title alone, you kind of know what you're going to get. So, Supper's Ready, I think, totally works. Because Genesis have that sort of silly vibe to them. That I just think it works. I think it's a great title for the song. The music speaks for itself. You don't need a super epic title when the music's just amazing. So, you know, who really cares what the title of the song is? The music itself is absolutely fantastic. So that's Foxtrot by Genesis, 1972. And I know I talked for like most of the video about Supper's Ready, but it's just so good. Foxtrot does suffer from the curse of a lot of the early prog rock albums of having an absolute masterpiece on one side, and then great songs on the other side, but just not as good. Tarkus by ELP would be another example. The first side is just so good. Such an amazing song that no matter how good the short songs on the second side were going to be, it just couldn't compare. There are some examples where the second side probably altogether is better, like Hemispheres by Rush. La Via Strangiato is probably better itself than Cygnus Book 2 Hemispheres, but that's just a couple of examples. But this is Foxtrot. First Genesis album I reviewed. I wanted to get around to a Genesis one. I was going to review Selling England by the Pound, but I thought, nah, I'll do Foxtrot. I want to talk about Supper's Ready. Haven't listened to it in a while. I think I might listen to it again soon. But this has been my 7th album review, Foxtrot by Genesis, and thanks for watching. Again, any suggestions in the comments of what you want to see next, let me know. Thanks for watching.